Today's video is going to be something a little bit different. And due to the nature of this video, where I'm going to be talking through my own gameplay to hopefully explain how to play Toxic Rain Raider, I'm not going to be able to polish the video as much as I might normally. This isn't pre-scripted, I do know what I'm going to be talking about, I do know how to play my build, but there's a difference between that and a lot of the more highly polished, highly scripted things that you tend to see. For example, that jump cut there was something that you won't be seeing for the rest of the video, and this video was brought to you in part by the generous support from my YouTube channel members and my patrons. I've been getting a lot of questions about how do you play Toxic Rain Raider, how do you play Toxic Rain Ballistas, so I'm just going to go through map and talk about what I am doing. Before I do, a quick note, I have a life flask, next to it I have a Taste of Hate. The Taste of Hate triggers when I use my life flask. I have Forbidden Taste next to that, which triggers when I take a savage hit. Video down in the description below if you want to check that out. Quicksilver, and also a mana flask. For my buttons, I have on my alt bar, Blood Rage and Summon Stone Golem. On my main bar, I have Steel Skin, Portal, Caustic Arrow, Blink Arrow, Withering Step, Toxic Rain, Enduring Cry. Purpose of this? The Summon Stone Golem is for regen, Blood Rage is for damage, Enduring Cry is basically a health pot, and it gives me endurance charges. Steel Skin is a passive defense, it's on left click. When I run around, it just happens automatically. I also have Valgrace on right click for when I am scared for my life. Then I have Caustic Arrow, that's my main clear. Toxic Rain Ballistas, that's my main single target. Withering Step to wither enemies and also run through them faster. And Blink Arrow for gap crossing. So let's get into some of the gameplay. Normally, when I'm just fighting random enemies, I'm just going to be mostly using the Caustic Arrow. It doesn't have a ton of DPS, it's only a couple 100,000, but it's more than enough, as you can see, to kill trash mobs. As I run through, I will fire the Caustic Arrow first. Behind it, I'll drop a Ballista or two. That way, if there's a rare in the pack, the Ballista will promptly melt it. Here we've got an Essence mob. I'm going to corrupt it, pop it, and I want to make sure I have all my Ballistas down before that, so I'll just spam a few out. And this is a good point for Valgrace, and get some endurance charges going. That was probably overkill. I highly doubt I needed all of those ballistas. One or two was most likely enough to melt the rare. Interestingly enough, as I'm talking through this, I do find my mapping speed to be a bit slower than I normally would have. So keep that in mind if you're planning to copy this for yourself. That's probably just a side effect of the fact that I have to think through and also talk while doing this. It's important to fire the Caustic Arrow before you really run into the enemies, because if you run into the enemies and then fire the Caustic Arrow, they're all going to get a chance to hit you. You don't want to give enemies a chance to hit you. When you do that, that's when you die. I know it probably looks like I'm just walking through packs, walking into enemy fire, and not taking any damage. What I'm trying to do is be very careful about approaching the pack, fire the Caustic Arrow before I do, walk through so that I'm behind them, or otherwise out of the way of their attacks, and then drop my ballistas. Because the summoning time, or totem placement, of the ballistas is so fast, I can do this very easily. Caustic Arrow has amazing coverage. The damage is far lower than the Toxic Rain itself. In my current gear, I would estimate that if the enemy is fully withered, my Caustic Arrow is going to be doing about 100 to, at best, 200k DPS. My Toxic Rain should be doing a lot. By a lot, I mean close to 4 million. With it being about 800,000 per ballista. This will vary a little bit because of overlaps. I am assuming 4 overlaps. There are times where you'll only get 5. Cut. God damn it. I'm so used to being able to cut. See, that's a mistake that you don't get to make when you're live, and it's staying in. So I am used to getting 4 overlaps. Sometimes you will get a 5th overlap. Sometimes as enemies move, you'll only get 3 overlaps. The more AoE you have, most likely the more enemies that are highly mobile will be damaged by your skill. Similarly, if you're using something like Conk Effect, like I was before I switched over, then you won't really be able to do that much to enemies that are highly mobile. For boss, it's pretty much the same. I make sure to get all my ballistas out first, though, because that's the damage that matters. Then I use Withering Step to wither them, and I often pop Enduring Cry, because it's better to have the endurance charges than to heal myself afterwards. And I also have a life flask for healing. As you can see, the boss melted even with the Maven stuff. So now I'm just going to run through the rest of the map. Again, only stopping when I know enemies aren't about to shoot me, or intentionally moving out of the way of the enemies. Running through them is fine as long as you have phasing. I'm dropping ballistas mostly to deal with single target like that rare chasing me right now, and for everything else, I'm just going to let the Caustic Arrow do its stuff. I do have a little bit of Explodey. It's unfortunately only 10% chance, but it's really hard to work this into the build without an Explodey bow. And I haven't bought one yet, because I kind of like the stats on my bow. I don't think I'll be able to get a good Explodey bow. For this, I definitely want my Vol Grace up, and I'm definitely going to just run through, not holding still, because holding still is bad. Most of the time when you die, it's because you held still in an enemy effect, just like I almost did there. Then I blink arrow across, I'm out of the damage over time effect that the Vol guys drop, and I'm perfectly safe. If you watch my health, and more importantly watch my Forbidden Taste, you will see that I don't honestly get hit that often. I have a little bit of life on kill, so small hits do just kind of get erased, but I'm very rarely taking a hit large enough to proc the taste. And very rarely do I have to use my life flask. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to jump down there. A little embarrassing, but I guess I'll live. And here we are at the League mechanic, and it looks like the end of the map. That guy's alive, but one advantage of playing Toxic Rain Ballistas is a lot of the time when you run past, like I did there, things will just die behind you. You don't have to worry about them. They are not surviving those ballistas. I quite like artifacts, so I'm going to do some artifacts, some log books, maybe some ROG books, because ROG is great. Then just loop around here to hit as many extra monsters as possible. I did not read any of the mods because I didn't see anything yellow, so this could be a bunch of super rippy stuff, but my ballistas should be able to handle it no problem, especially since once they get a single kill, enemies will start exploding. And exploding is good. I did have a slightly higher damage cluster that I was testing. The Explodey felt way better while clearing. And that's the map. I know this hasn't been quite the fastest map run. In fact, it's been a little bit slower, because it is surprisingly difficult to talk through what I'm doing with my gameplay while also playing. I'm much more used to doing a voiceover. But I wanted you to see my thoughts moment to moment rather than me recreating those thoughts in a more scripted manner. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and let me know down in the comments below if you've been playing Toxic Rain Ballista, and if this helped you with how to play your build, how to not get killed by enemies, and that sort of thing. If you want to see more gameplay live, with me talking and therefore mapping more slowly, my stream is going to be live right after this video premieres, so be sure to check that out as well. But for now, best of luck with your mapping, and I do want to know if this is a video format that you want to see more of. Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. A special thanks to my YouTube channel members and patrons, whose generous support keeps me from needing to accept sketchy mobile game sponsorships. If you want the best way to keep up with my video releases and live streams, or maybe just hang out and chat with a bunch of like-minded people, be sure to join the Discord. You can find all these links down in the description below. Thank you again, and I hope you have a great day.